Evening. I'm Pam Rigdon, founder of Coaches for Good. And what I'm going to chat about right now is this question that keeps coming up since I launched Coaches for Good on April's the 1st, except, of course, it wasn't a joke. And this question is, why the sudden concern about social impact? Now, sometimes that's being driven with genuine interest and curiosity. More often, what I've noticed is that it's skepticism, thinly veiled as curiosity. And actually, while I can't forgive that skeptical tone, I do understand the question because I I've been doing what I'm doing for such a long time. There's a lot of people out there who don't actually know about my background. And I haven't talked about it because actually it belongs in another lifetime, but it's highly relevant now. So time that I did talk about it. So first up, following my daughter's birth in 1984, I worked in a variety of roles with vulnerable people. I had completed a master's degree at Sussex University in actually sociological studies and specialised in mental health and deviance. Not entirely sure why they put those two things together, but there you go. And off the back of what was an academic course, all those years ago, I was able to walk into a nursing agency on Queen's Road in Brighton, and later that night found myself in a psychiatric unit filling in for a psychiatric nursing assistant. That would never happen now. It did used to happen back then in what would have been about 1990, I think. And that was the beginning of, oh my gosh, 10, 11, 12 years when I worked in a variety of roles in psychiatric units, group homes, and in other projects designed for social impact. All while juggling the juggle, otherwise known as being a single parent. Sometime around 1990, it's so long ago, I don't remember when exactly, I was engaged by Brighton Health Authority, long since gone, to write a feasibility study for a work scheme for people, adults with mental health issues. And it was a project that ran in partnership with the Richmond Fellowship. Now, the only reason I got that job was because of what I suggested in my interview. And I suggested that we could set up a workshop where the users could actually make the deck chairs for Brighton Seafront. I'd done my research. I knew there was a similar scheme in Bournemouth doing the same thing. So I got the job. The feasibility study was a huge hit, and I raised over £16,000. It wasn't part of my role to fundraise. And that secured match funding from the health authority. And we set up a premises on Arundel Place, which was there for many, many years, up in Kent Town, almost 20 years, providing meaningful work for adults with mental health issues. Now, I would have actually have loved to stay on and to have managed that project. Um, However, I wasn't really a manager. And so I was there for a few months and did the handover to the new manager. And so after the deck chair project was up and running, I actually started my own small, albeit relatively, social enterprise, which is was what would now be a CIC. And I rented a small workshop in the North Lanes and employed women with long-term mental health issues. What did we do? Well, one day while I was walking into work to the workshop, I spotted this guy sleeping it off in a doorway in Kensington Gardens, and he was wearing a Jester hat. Um, I rather cheekily, shall we say, borrowed borrowed his hat because I really liked it and took it to the workshop and cut a quick pattern while the coffee was on brewing. And once I'd cut the pattern, of course, I returned it to its rightful owner, who was still asleep. We called the project out of the attic because we basically sold these hats and other related things like little bags and really focusing on the historical souvenir gift market, and ultimately had contracts with English Heritage, the Royal Shakespeare Company, and their shops in Stratford and the Barbican, Buckingham Palace, and numerous castles and stately homes. And it was so easy in those days because there was a guidebook, an AA guidebook to 100 stately homes in the UK, and it used to have their phone numbers in. And I literally just rang them up one at a time, ticked off 10 a day, and asked if I could send them some hats for them to sell in their gift shop. Then it told you which ones had a gift shop on sale or return. It was so much fun. And yeah, it was brilliant. We sold them at various festivals, at Glastonbury, the year Massive Attack played, whenever the hell that was. So a long time ago. It was incredible. And what meant more to me than anything was that I employed these two women, and they both were diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And it was, I'll never forget this, the sound. I could gauge their mood simply by listening to the sound that the bells made, the bells being the little bells that they would stitch onto the jester hats. And it, if one or other of them was in a manic state, this jingling reverberated around the workshop because they'd be going really quickly, jingle, jingle. And then if they were conversely not feeling great, depressed, sometimes the sound would almost stop. And those were sad days. So, what I'm trying to say here in response to the thinly veiled skepticism, that for me, founding Coaches for Good is actually like coming home. This is full circle, working with individuals with from marginalized communities was part of my life for so many years. I'm not at all surprised that I've come back to it. And Coaches for Good is anything, certainly isn't a sudden pivoted pivot. It is a homecoming. So where we're at now, what we're building, when I launched Coaches for Good, the original intention was that our trainees would coach charity staff and volunteers. And then the very first charity I reached out to, Radical Recruit, run by the lovely Emma Freevogel, asked a question, which was, could we work with their service users, prison leavers, care leavers, long-term disabled people seeking employment? And honestly, there was only one possible answer to that question, and it was yes. Even though saying yes meant building everything from scratch, trauma-informed training, safeguarding training, policies, agreements, incident report forms, we weren't anticipating needing to do any of that. Believe you me, a level one application is big enough anyways, and it has all been worthwhile, absolutely worthwhile. So the numbers, 8 months in, we're now supporting 15 charities. Our trainees are in the process of delivering 540 hours of free coaching. 54 trainee coaches working through the program. And we're partnering with organisations like Radical Recruit, who I've already mentioned, the Pankhurst Trust, Relate in Northern Ireland, Spark to Life, and the Social Care Institute for Excellence, Magic Me, many more. And what was extraordinary, the moment I knew, within minutes of posting a shout out for charity partnerships and LinkedIn, minutes, I received 3 DMs from a CEO of a charity, a CIC, and a senior manager in a national charity, all wanting support. And honestly, I can't tell you how emotional I was, because this was an idea. I knew in my bones that it would work. And and that reality, oh my gosh, that actual tangible proof that there was a need for this. There is a need for this. And now we're meeting it. The next time, a month or so ago now, I put another shout out and 12 charities applied. It's extraordinary. All organisations who want coaching support and they do not have the budget for it at the moment, or unlikely they will, particularly at the moment. So one of our trainees shared this with me. What she said was, I help someone see that their past doesn't define their future. In 1 hour, we shifted from I can't do this to what if I could. That moment, she said, when someone's whole energy changes, that is why I wanted to become a coach. And this is what happens when we can get coaching into the hands of those who need it most. So if you'd like to be part of this, we're doing something we haven't done before while running the pilot program. We are running a free essential coaching skills workshop in January Monday, the 12th of January, where you can come and experience what being part of our program is really like. Clearly, the charity element makes us different. Who is this for? Well, it's for you if you've been thinking about pursuing coaching as a career, or if you've been really wanting to get trained up so that you could bring coaching skills into your working role. It's for you as well if you're already coaching but don't have a qualification. It's for you if you have that qualification and you've now decided you want to go down the ICF route and can see that this is the most cost-effective way to do that, because it is. And it's for coaches who are qualified, credentialed, who'd just like to come and spend the afternoon with me, learning possibly some new skills, if not refreshing some old skills. And kind of, it's always lovely to have a new perspective, isn't it? And then that opportunity to practice and connect with other coaches. So you are most welcome to come and join us for this very special day. So link wherever this video is, maybe in the comments, the description, you will find it. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. It's lovely to meet you here.